So I decided I want to try to do some container corn, just using some cheap potting soil, an old tote, and these are some perforated irrigation tubing. I believe it's 4 inch. You basically cut it to length, then put on some landscaping material to cover the ends, and then you fill it with dirt. The water basically wicks up from the bottom into the roots. So those bottom tubes hold water and air, kind of like a reservoir for the plants. This is the first week here. My seeds just started popping up. I've got 11 of them planted, a row of 4, a row of 3, and then a row of 4. I put 2 seeds in each hole just because I wasn't sure if, how many would germinate. So it ended up, I believe, 2 plants came out of each hole, so that worked out. This is the second week. You can see that they're starting to come up. I got the row of 4, row of 3, row of 4. They came up looking good. I let them get a little bit bigger before I decided, which one to weed out. But I'm pretty sure that's week 2. I started this at the beginning of April. So this would probably be the middle of April here in North Carolina. So this would be a week later. Looks like here I've already weeded out the second seedling there. I've just got one coming out of each hole. I did weekly updates on my YouTube channel. This may have skipped a week. This could be the 4th week where the corn is basically up about a foot. This would be, I believe, week 5. Plants are starting to come in. They're looking pretty good. Starting to get some nice thick stalks on there. Week 6, they've jumped up. Looks like they're a couple of feet now. Yeah, you can see they're just over the railing there. Get a lot of storms that roll through. We got a lot of thunderstorms and wind. So I know from previous grows, if I don't trellis or stake things down, they get blown over. So here I was just talking about I'm going to put a rope in this corner to hold these up in case, the wind starts blowing so they don't blow over on me. This is the following week. I guess this would be week 7. Plants are still growing nicely. It's looking pretty good. Still talking about putting up that rope. I always procrastinate and wait too long. But there we go. So looks like week 8, I finally put my rope in there to hold them against the wind. Now that they're getting taller, they catch the breeze pretty good, and I didn't want them to fall over. So it was growing in good. Starting to see some signs of where the stuff's going to start to develop there. So I was pretty happy at this point. Getting ready to go into, I believe, would be week 9-ish. So this is the following week. You can see that the corn is starting to develop cobs. You can see the silks there. The plants were looking really good at this point. Like I said, this is either week 9 or 10. Really happy with how my corn was growing out of that tote. I was probably had to add water at this point, maybe once every 4 days or so. I'd have to fill up the reservoir in the bottom of the tote, but growing good. This is the following week. You can start to see where the silks there are starting to brown a little bit, and then the corn starts to lean forward from the stalk. Obviously lots of these cobs are in different states of development. This one's got some brown. This one's silks are looking fresh. But the plant is probably like 10 or 12 feet tall, I would guess, at this point. This is either week 11 or 12. Things are starting to get close. See, this is starting to get a little bit crispy. The cobs themselves were kind of thin, and I was a little bit worried about the cross-pollination because, with corn, they grow them in groups because they need to pollinate in order for all the kernels to, to develop. So that's kind of one of the reasons why I did 11 stalks in one bucket. I figured if I keep them close, hopefully I get some good cross-pollination, so all the kernels would develop. And here I've got some that are getting close to being ready to pick. I think I might have gone out of town after this week for my brother's birthday or something, and I came back, which you're going to see coming up here, where I did harvest some of the cobs. Right. This is where I started harvesting some, and I realized all of the kernels didn't develop as well as I'd hoped. Every cob that I ended up picking had, about like an inch or so on the top that didn't get pollinated, and every cob was left with a little bit on the end. The corn was pretty good. It was sweet. Like I said, not as plump and juicy as I had hoped for. I think if I were to do this again, maybe if I had 2 or 3 totes in a group, maybe with more stalks, I might get better pollination. But I would say that this tote, trying to grow this corn for the first time, was like mildly successful. I mean, not beautiful ears of corn by any means, but not terrible either. I did end up eating this corn, and it was pretty good, but not like, I'm not winning any awards with it, that's for sure. But first time trying it, not horrible. Like I said, if I were to do it again, I'm not sure if I would next year or not. I might do 2 or 3 totes side by side just to get a bigger grouping of plants. So, hopefully they would pollinate a little bit better. But that was my corn growing experience this year in the tote. I think the tote worked good as far as the self-watering goes, but the corn still needs a little bit of work.